Man, things went completely crazy on the Have and Have-Nots finale. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 7 Episode 20. And the name of this episode is Show Not Tell, and this was the season finale for Season 7. I definitely apologize that this review is late. My TV actually broke, and it just got fixed over this weekend, and that's why I haven't forgotten you guys. I am sincerely sorry that I haven't done any videos lately. But I'm going to have all my reviews coming up for the Have and the Have-Nots, Ambitions, Queen Sugar, Pose. I got you guys covered. And again, I'm deeply sorry that I haven't put out any videos lately. But hey, the TV went out. And trust me, I was pissed. But I'm glad that everything's back up and running now. So let me begin with this finale. And I'm going to try not to make this a long video because somewhat I enjoyed it, but then I really wasn't on the edge of my seat like I wanted to be for this finale. But I would say for what they gave me, they definitely going to have a lot to work with when the show comes back. So the episode starts off with David and Jeffrey. Jeffrey has done David's bandages because he's still in his feelings about Madison, which I understand. But then Jeffrey was like, look, you know, you need to give him his job back and all of that. I mean, of course, you know, he acted out of impulse, but he meant well. And then David clocked it. You like him. And I'm like, yeah, it's obvious. But Jeffrey's full of shit and he just doesn't want to admit it. So then he was saying that, you know, he's better off than I'd rather you be with him than to be with that damn Justin kid. And he was saying that, and then like Justin, and then you go Jeffrey defending him again, like, oh, so you saying that it was okay that mom had him beaten and raped in jail? You know, he is a human being. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody kick the damn door in. It's Veronica's goons. They are there to finish them off. You know, because she said she wants everything in that house dead. Any living thing. So, pretty much we see that David got guns and shit. He passes one gun to Jeffrey, said, okay, let's do this shit. Next thing you know, we see that the damn whole house is being lit up like the 4th of July in that bitch. And Veronica out there smoking a cigarette and is like, that'll teach you not to kill me. Son of a bitch. I'm like, that evil whore. And she was doing the most this episode. So that's what happened there. There were some shots they rang out. We don't know who lived or survived. But I can guarantee, I don't think David nor Jeffrey got through that without getting a bullet or two. Because it was about 5 of them and 2 of them. You do the math. Alright, so then we actually see that Mitch comes to meet up with Jim. Jim gives him the envelope with $75,000. And then all of a sudden we see that Wyatt comes into the room, and then Mitch looked at him and was like, it's your lucky day, kid. You should kiss your father for this. And then Jim was like, okay, so that means that the hit is off. And he's like, yeah, it's off as soon as I tell my uncle. And then all of a sudden after Mitch leaves, Jim and Wyatt talk. And he was saying that, you know, Jim tells Wyatt that, look, the hit's off now. Yeah, you know, and Wyatt is still on that shit. He's like, the hit wouldn't have been on me in the first place if you ain't take my money, and I want my money back. And he's like, you ain't gonna get your money back. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get it back after the both of you die. And he was like, well, from the looks of things, you'll end up being dead long before me and your mother will. And then he was like, oh, really? We'll see about that. And then he says that, and then all of a sudden he's about to leave, and Jim was like, where the hell you think you're going? He says, I'm leaving the house. He's like, no, the hell you not. Your ass is not going anywhere. Your ass is going upstate to a rehab facility, and if I gotta drag you by the balls, that's where you're going. And he was like, I hate you. And he's like, okay, so we already know this motherfucker with his junky ass is spiraling out of control, and we already know he got that rifle still hitting, and he's ready to do some damage. So then we get a scene with Catherine and Broderick, and I am like, seriously, Catherine? Because it's obvious she done caught feelings for this fool, and we all know that Broderick ain't shit, you know. So pretty much, you know, they done had sex, and she's saying she has to go home, and he was like, you know, stay with me. But pretty much I'm thinking, Catherine, you should have stayed. Based on what ends up happening to your ass, you should have stayed with Broderick, you know, and let him do it to you one more time like the song. But anyway, he was saying that, you know, he was like, you know, he's like, why do you want me to stay? And he was like, because I like you. And he's like, you're beautiful, you're sexy. And she's like, and I'm rich. And he was like, well, that doesn't hurt either. I'm like, Broderick, you a piece of shit. But then she was like, well, if I was broke, would you feel the same way? And he was like, of course I would. Lies. So pretty much she was like, so she pretty much tells him, like, look, I gotta go and I'll be back tomorrow, because remember, she has him set up in Wyatt's old apartment, you know, decked out and everything. So, and he's like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, got him all set up and everything. So then we see that Veronica goes to see Justin at the hospital. And Justin is fucked up. Them dudes in jail not only, you know, took his cookie, but they fucked him up bad. And also she comes in there, was like, damn, girl. And he's like, what are you doing here? She's like, well, I came in here to check my handiwork. And he's telling her, get out, you're wicked. And she's like, oh, that's okay, baby, there's more to come. And he's like, please, I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, you sorry for hitting the queen? You know? And she's like, yeah, hitting the queen. And I'm not talking about Jeffrey. I'm like, bitch, you need to stop. Oh my God. And he's like, but you ruined my life. And she says, no, you ruined your life. I told you to leave my son alone, didn't I? Uh-huh. But I'm gonna let you heal for the second round. So she's like, this shit ain't over. I'ma continue to fuck you up. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna let you heal, and then the second round is coming, because you need to learn, if you ever want to hit a badass bitch, think again. And then all of a sudden, when she left, Madison clocked her, and he was like, what are you doing here? You need to leave. You know, you're not a friend of his. You're not family. What are you doing here? And she was like, oh, what are you supposed to be? Level security? Like, seriously, honey? And she was like, oh, yeah, and by the way, you need to do something with those wrinkles and those lines, boo-boo. You need to get you some injections, because you look old. Shoot. You look older than I am, and I'm twice your age, baby. You need to take care of that. Bye, girl. I'm like, Veronica, you ain't gonna be happy till Madison slapped you just like Justin did. But then again, Madison, you might not want to do that, because that bitch is crazy, and she'll probably send, the same motherfuckers after you to take your cookie, just like what happened to Justin up in jail. And because, he kind of was like peeping like, what the hell you doing here? Because he knows how crazy Veronica is. So then Madison goes in to check on Justin, and then he was like, and Madison was like, is everything okay? And Justin was like, she's gonna kill me. And he's like, I'll call security. He's like, no. And then he apologizes to Madison for what he did to him. He's like, you just don't understand that I love him so much. He's all I have, and I'm misunderstood. And he's like, well, I'm gonna I'm gonna go, and I'll come back to check on you later. He's like, no, please stay. I don't have anybody. I really want you to stay with me. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh yeah, and Veronica said that, oh yeah, maybe you need to go visit him. Maybe, the both of y'all can hook up and y'all can leave my son alone. And we see that Justin is reaching out to Madison, and Madison was like, look, I gotta go. I'm not gonna stay here with you, but I will come back and check on you later. And that's about it. And we just see that Justin is just crying, and it was like, I'm just misunderstood. I'm like, yeah, you are misunderstood, but you crazy as shit, and you need some help. So then we see that RK finally comes back to the house, to come see Wyatt. Wyatt promised him he got 10 karat, diamond earrings and shit. And he's like, throw it up or whatever. And then all of a sudden, RK tosses up the bag, of drugs. And he's like, and Wyatt gets mad. It's like, man, this is small. He was like, dude, if you want something for real, you need to be throwing down some money instead of throwing down jewelry. And he was like, look, that's all I got, man. He's like, you know what? RK's an asshole. Because he's like, you know what? Let me go knock on the door. He's like, no, don't do that. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to knock on the door. He's like, you're such an asshole. It's like, yeah, I know. And then all of a sudden we see that Jim comes out on the balcony and confronts Wyatt. It's like, what the hell you doing out here? And all this shit. And he sees RK. He's like, what the hell you doing here? He says, well, your wife wanted me to help around the house. And he's like, come again? He was like, I left something in the car. He's like, stay your ass down there. I'm coming down there in a second. So all of a sudden he goes in, and then Wyatt's like, go on, man, get the hell out of here, go out of here. He's like, man, I ain't scared of him. He's like, you need to go. He's like, look, man, I got a black belt in karate, man. I can handle myself. And then all of a sudden, RK ass started doing the damn stance and shit like he about to fight. And I was rolling like shit. I'm like, RK's a fucking crazy ass. But shout out to Rowan Flynn. He's playing that role, though. And then all of a sudden, Jim comes down there. And he's like, so what the hell you doing at my house? Did you bring something to my son and all this shit? He's like, what's in your hand? And he was like, oh, your mother's earrings. And he's like, oh, so this is what's going on? This, you're giving my son drugs? Is that what it is? You took my wife's, 10, he's like, and then RK was like, well, what you mean, man? You think because I'm black I can't have 10 karat earrings? He's like, first of all, they 20 karat because I bought them myself. And he's like, and he says, so pretty much you stole them, and I'm gonna call the cops. And he's like, and then he pretty much says that, so he pretty much says, get the hell out of here. And he said, and then he tells RK that, if you bring drugs to my son again, I will have you murdered. I'm like, yeah, that's the same shit you said to Candace in season 1, and she's still breathing. Okay. So we pretty much see that, Wyatt is a junkie like shit. Catherine pulls up, and he's like, where the hell have you been, Catherine? She says, I was out with my lover. Like, Catherine, this is not the time to be talking about your sexual shenanigans and shit. So pretty much we see that Wyatt goes in and he hides the drugs. Jim and Catherine go to confront him and everything. They get into it, and then Jim pretty much goes off on Catherine, he says that Wyatt is still taking drugs, and he pretty much stole your earrings and was gonna give them to this guy, to get drugs, the guy that dropped you off. And then he was saying, and then he pretty much tells her that, and if you were a real mother to him, we wouldn't be going through this shit right now. And she was like, Jim, I will throw your ass over this banister if you don't stop with your bullshit. Because I'm like, yeah, bro, because you were fucking Celine while he was getting raped by the pastor. So, bitch, you ain't father of the year, motherfucker. So, you can't just be throwing blame on Catherine. So while that's going on, Wyatt slips his ass in the bathroom and decides to go get high. Then we go to the Young house. Hannah, Candace, and Benny, they had dinner as a family. They get a knock on the door, and then Hannah immediately said, if it's Derek, don't let him in. And Benny's like, what did he do? What did he do? And I'm like, she's trying not to tell you because she know you gonna kill his ass if you know. And she's trying to keep your ass from going to jail. But Benny's such a dumbass hothead. He ain't thinking about shit. But then we come to find out it's actually Mitch. So Mitch and Benny go outside to talk, and Mitch lets him know, you owe me. And I'm like, yeah, and you definitely better make Benny pay because he don't even realize that all the great lengths you went through to save his ass. So he pretty much tells Mitch that, I got the money, you're in the clear, everything's okay. And then we see that Candace and Hannah inside are having a conversation, and she's saying, so Candace asks Hannah, what's going on with that guy Derek? And she was like, men are dogs. They'll take your heart, play with it, and then they throw you away. And she says that it wasn't like that with him. But then Candace was like, but you liked him though. More than anyone else in years. And then she pretty much says that, I felt kind of the same way about Charles. And then she says, he raped me. And she was like, when did this happen? Did this happen to you a second time, Mom? I mean, I'm sorry, but, to tell you the truth, I've been raped ever since the age of 7. And she's like, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, daughter. But no, this is not a second time, it's the first time. So, immediately, Candace makes the connection. So you mean to tell me that Derek is my father? And she's like, yes. He heard me and you having a conversation about the lion tattoo and all of that. And then when I went to the kitchen later afterwards, he revealed the lion tattoo to me. But she tells Candace, you cannot tell Benny. We can't tell him. And then all of a sudden, Benny comes in there questioning what they talking about. They pretty much said, we're talking about periods, just to get him to shut up. And then Hannah goes upstairs, and here go Benny with the motherfucking bullshit. And I just go to say that, I'm really going to get on Hannah in this situation too, because you've always put Benny on this pedestal, and Benny ain't shit. Because soon as Hannah leaves, he starts telling Candace, he again starts asking about their conversation, and Candace doesn't tell him anything. And he pretty much tells Candace, you need to keep that $8 million. I'm like, I'm just looking at this fool like, you piece of shit. Like, you have not learned a damn thing. Like, you were about to get fucked up by Jim, as well as the Malones, because of you and this money shit, and you still on it. And Candace like, look, I can't do this, man. I'm done. I'm over it. And he was like, but I'm letting you know, if you want to keep the money, I don't blame you. But you should keep that money. It's enough money to get you off and start you a new life. I see what you're saying. But then she's like, but me and Mom in a good place, and I don't want to get her mad at me again. He's like, she been mad before. I'm like, oh. So we see in this whole situation why Benny ain't shit, because Benny is usually the one that plays between the both of them. When the bullshit is popping off and Candace doing all the fucked up shit and everything is good, he's on Candace's side. But when shit goes left, he's then on Mommy's side. Mommy was right. You always lie. Shut up, bitch. Like, Benny gets on my fucking nerves. Like, I am like so done with Benny that it's just sickening. Like, just the bullshit that Benny comes out of his, the shit that comes out of Benny's mouth just makes me want to choke the fuck out of him. Cause Benny's garbage, and I'm just thinking like, Hannah, I'm gonna roast your ass because you've always put Benny on a pedestal that he was so much better than Candace. He is just as reckless and is just as treacherous as Candace. It's only that Candace is smarter than he is, because this motherfucker done literally damn near got yourself killed by the mob and also by Jim, because Jim stabbed you up because he wanted his $8 million, and you still talking about we should keep the money. Like, you just got a death wish. You so damn hungry for money and for a quick come up, you're not even thinking about the consequences or repercussions of you having that money and what it will bring. It's like you're completely not even listening to your mother. You don't give a fuck what your mother says. But then when shit gets bad, you want your mother to be there and bail your ass out. Like, he really pissed me off. So then we see that Mitch goes to his Uncle Vinny, and we see his little stupid ass cousin is there, the one that always talking shit. So he gave him $50,000, for the take the hit off crier. So he tells old boy to call Will, and it's off. Then he also gives $20 for Benny. He says, okay, call Will and call that off too. And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but he owed me $5,000. He late. Every week it goes up. So he owed me $5,000. And so he's like, oh, you want more? Okay. So then all of a sudden he drops $5,000. And he was like, but I think I want more. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna call Mama Rose and put her ear to this shit if you don't call it off. So he pretty much tells, Mitch's cousin Andy to call the shit off, which he does. And he's like, and then he was like, yeah, I don't know why you fronting. You need to come back to the family business, because it's like more and more you're getting lured into it. He's like, nah, I'm gonna be good. And then like Andy started talking about, yeah, with that beat up car you driving. He's like, yeah, but it's mine. I paid for it, and eventually I'm gonna have me a better car from my own money, and ain't shit y'all gonna do about it. And he just kind of deuced them off and left. It's like, this shit is over. So I was like, So pretty much, yeah. So now the hits off of Wyatt and Benny are off. But then again, maybe the hit for Wyatt should have stayed on, because Wyatt's old crazy junkie ass gets the rifle. Jim is downstairs, and I think he's on the phone with Kyle, discussing this whole thing with Candace. All of a sudden, he literally, pulls the Glock, gets Jim's attention, and then Jim is like, son, no, boom, shoots Jim's ass. Catherine is in the bathroom about to take her a bath, because she was being a hoe, and she ain't actually powder the pooch before she left with Broderick. But she's on the phone talking to Derek, and her and Derek are talking, and he's pretty much saying that, look, I know what happened was fucked up, and I'm so sorry for this, but I just, that's why I want to talk to her, and she's like, well, you pretty much know that she doesn't want to talk to you, and do you realize that you're not only did you rape her, but yet you're the father of her daughter? And he's like, oh my God, I didn't know about that at all. So I'm like, now he knows that Candace is his daughter. So it's like, yeah, so now you know why she don't want to talk to you. But all of a sudden she heard the shot go off, so she tells Derek that she gonna call him back. She goes downstairs to see that he done shot his father. Wyatt then begins to chase her with the rifle, and she's saying, son, no, please, no, I love you, son, no, son, I love you, please don't do this. He chased her all the way to the bathroom, and next thing you know, he had the gun aimed at her and blew her ass fucking falls in the tub. So I'm like, boy, this is some crazy shit. So both Jim and Catherine got shot by the rifle, and then Wyatt's ass goes to the front door. We see that George is there with some officers, because they are pretty much there to arrest them, because I don't know whether Kyle was able to work it out to get George and them off of them, but they were in the works of doing that. But George shows up with some police, and Wyatt is there, and he's saying that, and George asks Wyatt, where are your parents? And he was like, they're dead. He's like, excuse me? He's like, they're dead. They're dead. And then he raises his hand and sees that they see the rifle, and they shoot Wyatt's ass. Now I'm like, Wyatt is a white boy of privilege. You know damn well that shit would have never happened. So I'm like, Tyler, that was some bullshit. I'm calling it, and I don't give a damn. Like, no. Now, if he was this complexion, yeah, he would have got shot. But this boy is a white boy with privilege. If anything, they probably would have tried to rustle him to the ground, or they would have tasered him like they're supposed to do with everybody. But with black people, it's a totally different story. So that I didn't care for, but they shot Wyatt's ass. And question is, who's actually survived all of this shit? Because we know that David and Jeffrey had a shootout up in the mansion, so we don't know who's alive or dead in that situation. We see that Wyatt shot Jim and shot Catherine. We don't know whether they survived, but from the looks of it, they probably did not. But you know how Tyler is. Tyler likes to bring people back to life and shit. And then we see that Wyatt got shot, and we don't know whether he's alive or dead. So, literally, there was a whole bunch of shooting and a whole bunch of bodies. The question is, who died and who survives? And I think we'll find that out with the premiere of Season 8. So, with that being said, that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the season premiere of the Have and the Have Not Season 8. So until next time, everybody, take care.